Okay.
Hi, my name is Juson, and I'm formally accepting my nomination for academic chair. A bit about me: I'm a first-year pre-nursing major, and I'm applying to the nursing program in the fall. Before my senior year, it was always difficult for me to make friends, and I thought that life would somehow follow me back into college. However, I couldn't have been farther from the truth because I found PAC. There wasn't a single dull moment in my short time here in PAC, and despite my stressful schedule, I had to give back to the family that gave me so much. In high school, I had the privilege of having the position of Commissioner of Academics in ASB. I have a plaque with my name and that title under it on my stand where I can see it every morning. I simply don't display it to remind myself of any glory days from my past, but for it to serve as a memento, to remind myself that I can do anything I can set my mind to. That I can go from being a shy little boy at lunch to representing the academic achievement of an entire school. During my time, I held Student of the Month meetings every quarter and hosted Torrance High's 68th Annual Achievement Awards at the end of the year. That day I hosted my Achievement Awards was one of the best days of my life not because of the event itself, but because coincidentally, that was also the day I got off the waitlist to go to Long Beach for pre-nursing. You could call it fate, but if I get elected, I for one cannot wait to host P-Grad with Cultural Chair at the end of the year because I'll be ending my cabinet journey as academics the same way I started it, by giving the spotlight and recognition to the people who put in the countless hours to achieve something more than what they thought possible within themselves. I love the family that I was born into, but unfortunately, I was a black sheep growing up. For my parents and siblings, school was the most important priority for them. Fortunately, a switch flicked in my 7-year-old mind and decided to be different from my family. And though it may seem like I was setting myself for a better future, it had meant I had to do it all alone. Studying ethics, work habits, time management, and a motivation to succeed were all things I had to learn all by myself. And as useful as it may sound, I wouldn't want to wish this burden onto anyone, which is why academics is so important to me. Being a pre-nursing student, I know the feeling of emptiness and hopelessness, studying for a test late at night. I know the feeling of having the weight of the world on your shoulders from the expectation of not just others, but the expectation you put on yourself. I know the feeling of failure and being on the absolute brink of quitting, questioning whether or not you have the ability to keep on going. This is why I'm running for academic chair. Whether you're doing PAC or PCN, I know it cannot just be hard, but impossible to juggle all these responsibilities, time-dedicated activities, on top of school, family issues, relationships, having a job, and even volunteering. I want to be that someone that people can go to be that resource when they need help and don't know where to go to be that someone to point them in the right direction when they feel lost, to even personally reach out to dozens and dozens of school resources for them when they're struggling not just academically, but mentally, emotionally, and financially in school. Even just to be that person to talk to when they feel like they're the only person on earth. Being an academic chair, I can be the public figure to do just that. I've learned that it's not the absence of hardship that defines us, it's how we respond to it. The person I strive to be is someone who keeps on moving forward, even in the face of difficulty. One of the biggest changes I incorporated into my time as academics in high school was changing the policy of having one girl and one boy winner. As one term, there were almost triple the amount of female nominations than male, and yet each gender had the same number of winners to give them equal opportunity to both men and women alike. Some ideas I have as academic chair is to separate study nights into 2 areas, a quiet area and one for group studying. By splitting the library into halves to give those people an opportunity to have an area to lock in with minimal distractions. I also hope to bring in speakers to share about resources that they might not have known about, like supplemental instructor leaders, because most people don't know about the support classes that have always helped me succeed in impossible classes like chem and anatomy. For Major Mingle, I want to appoint alumni or students that are experienced in their respective majors to be the resource that people can go to ask for advice about what classes to take, class scheduling, graduation timelines, or even just how to ask them to study for a particular test. Academics is something close to my heart and has always been my first priority. So I hope you guys could give me the opportunity to show that passion to the club that I love so much. Thank you.
All right, we'll open it to the floor. Anyone have any questions? All right, James.
You said in Major Bingo that you wanted to bring out more upperclassmen. Typically, each year there has been like a trouble with just bringing out upperclassmen to like the rest of our events, including like study nights and everything like that. How can you encourage upperclassmen to show out to your events, especially Major Bingo when it's basically on like their majors?
I actually thought about this exact question. I've actually been in my mind thinking about who I would ask for these particular jobs, like those who are close to graduating or graduating, like especially for programs like nursing or PT. I know that people in the program already have more experience in that. But for major mingle in general, or like attending events, I know it'd be hard, especially despite their busy schedules. That's why I implemented just asking them if they could be a resource and if they can give contact information, so I can share that contact information to them so that they can easily access it, and they'll always be a resource for them.
Michelle?
Some people may express academic stress to you because they'll find you as an outlet. You said that you experience academic stress, failures, and hardship yourself. How are you going to provide advice for them while still experiencing those struggles on your own?
Well, I would like to break that down into emotionally and academically. Emotionally first, I always like to tell myself that it's never over and there's always a chance to improve. That you are not defined as what your grades say on a paper, and you're not a number on a test. And you always have people to support you, especially people like PAC. I've always found outlets to vent to if I failed a test or if I'm struggling on homework. And being that person just to tell them that you're not alone in this is something I would like to do. And academically, if it's someone like me who needs to get straight A's, I would like to tell them that it's not just impossible, that there's always like hope or a sliver of hope left, and that they shouldn't give up on their dreams, especially if they work so hard and come this far.
I have a situational question.
Sure.
It's pretty long, so bear with me. Oh, it's also a two-parter. So I'll give you the first part first and you can answer. Okay, so let's say at Major Mingle, your turnout is larger than you thought. 1, what would you do if you start receiving a complaint that your event is too loud? I'll let you answer.
Well, first, I know how loud PAC can be, so I would totally understand. So first, I would give everyone a warning as a whole group, tell them that we need to be quiet, especially since we're in a public setting. And then I would then report back to whoever gave the complaint saying I did warn them, and I will tell them that will be the last time. And if it isn't the last time, then that would be on me, and I would tell them hey, this is the last time, if you're loud again, then we'll get kicked out, and offer that consequence to them. So just give them a warning, and then if they don't listen to that, then I'll tell them what will happen if they do.
And second part, now pretend like the complaint didn't exist. Since it is a library space, what would you do to respect the students studying and prevent a complaint?
Studying not in PAC?
Yeah, respect the students that are there.
Someone told me, especially 5th floor, they know how loud the library can be. So I feel like anyone going to the 5th floor will already know that the public setting will be loud. So I could suggest, if a complaint does happen, that they should move to another floor, towards a more quiet area, because 5th floor is designated for group setting.
Thank you.
Giselle?
If or when you make it into the nursing program, how would you balance being in the nursing program and also your position on CAB, and how would you prioritize your mental well-being or your responsibilities?
So for the past 2 years, maybe 3 years, all I've known is to keep busy. In my senior year, I balanced hospital volunteering, ASB, 5 AP classes while volunteering in church. And I was able to do all of that. And during my fall semester, I thought, wow, my schedule will be so light. But then I had TNIC, I had being a PAC turn, I had pre-nursing to balance on top of. So time management and giving myself a break is something I've always known to do. And I know that I do tend to burn out and my energy does get to a point where I can't bear it anymore. But I do know when to give myself a break. And I'll let people, especially those around me, know that I need that break.
You have a question? Yeah.
Oh, no.
I thought you were doing it. Sorry.
Oh, no, sorry.
You're good.
How? Sorry, let me frame it. especially during competition month, sometimes academic pillar tends to be overlooked or overshadowed. How would you, I guess, combat that to your fellow pillars and your fellow CAB members?
So, as general for academics, I know that it is overshadowed, but I want to express that there are like other pillars for social, like membership. It was called social before, right? So like it's literally designated to be social and to be more outgoing than academics. So instead of trying to combat the socialness of membership chair or other chairs, I would like to try to advertise what academics is more. So it's kind of like a gray area where I'm not trying to be more social, but I'm trying to put it more out there what I can do as an academic chair, like be a resource for them, like when they need help. So it's not really like, I like to designate academics to academics, if that makes sense.
Can you list as many predecessors that you may know?
Okay, I think I only know 5. I know Kylie, Rihanna, then it's Owen, and then I don't know the order between Nina and Noah, but I know they're.
Oh, thank you. Sorry. Any other questions? We have 4 more questions. I'll go James.
Cat burnout is real, something that it'll just inevitably happen. How can you still show and be presentable to gym members and not show that they're not happening in the time that like you haven't taken your break or that break that you want?
Well, a trait, or I like to say talent I like to possess, is that what I show on the outside is not always what I feel on the inside. I know, especially in an event like this, I'm nervous right now, but I'm trying my best to not display it. And in the same case, if I'm tired or if I need to be presentable and present something like in a gen meeting or talk to new members, I do know when to put my tiredness aside and put the best face I can forward, because first impressions are really important, especially in the fall. And it had a good first impression on me, and I want to make sure that it is important to put myself first, but putting gen members, especially in their introduction to PAC, is important as well.
Once PCN starts, the attendance for study nights is going to drop. So what are some ways you're planning to keep people entertained?
That's a great question. Well, for me, I will admit that I did not go to study nights because of PCN, especially because of TNIC and just because of just everything that builds up. But I do like how, even though PCN did start, I know you struggled in what to do with it, and you extended the time, right, from 7 to 8, which I did like, which makes, because in the beginning of the semester, practices did end at 8 o'clock, so I do tend to incorporate that, pushing up the time back. But when it comes to scheduling, I would like to know like which dances are the least amount on a certain day, and try my best to put it on that day so that people aren't as struggling choosing between PCN and study night.
Can you sample an academic lesson?
Yes, I can. Okay, so something different that I'd like to include, like I intended in my speech, is to have a resource every time I have an academic lesson, not just a study habit. So I'm titling my academic lesson, Use Your Voice. Your voice can be a powerful tool, not just to communicate, but to help you succeed. It could be in school speeches, class discussions, even asking a question. Even asking a question, your voice is something you need, or even just to help you explain something. And so with that, my academic study method is the Feynman technique. The Feynman technique is made by Richard Feynman, and I quote, "If you don't know how to explain something, you probably don't understand it." So this technique is basically something where you can use your voice. Take a minute to explain the topic to someone else, like you're talking to a kid, which is most important. So you have to go by every detail and think that they don't know what you're talking about. Then go again a second time and see the notes you took down and improve. You keep doing it until you feel confident, because reading something and writing something over and over again could be a proper study method, but it might always be the best thing for you. And so with that, with using your voice, I would like to introduce the resource of the Hot Center. The Hot Center is something where people can go to book an appointment. It could be for a presentation or a speech like this. You book an appointment and there are going to be professionals there to listen to you, give you critiques, anything you're doing wrong. And they're super nice too. They're not going to be mean about it. And that experience can help you improve hand gestures, if you're fidgeting, to not be nervous, you're pacing, and things like that. So don't forget to use your voice to help you succeed in your everyday life. And don't be afraid to use that voice to ask for help as well. Everyone knows the struggle of schooling, so don't stay quiet and alone, because your voice isn't just a tool, it's a weapon. So use that weapon to help you fight your battles.
Alright, we have one last question open to the general public. Jason?
Sorry. In some instances, you may feel that study nights will be overlooked by the cabinet or gen members, or study nights will lose its purpose, especially as the year goes on. How will you reinforce the idea of what study nights is and the purpose of that event?
So I know as far as events go, I know that a big turnout is something everyone wants, and they want more people to be involved and things like that. But for me, I've always seen study nights as a resource that I can go to. Me especially, I cannot study alone. I will fall asleep, I'll get distracted. So just being around people helps keep in check. So for me, I would like to emphasize that resource as much as possible, but I won't treat it as a regular event like AKA, or it'll just be something open to everyone anytime they can, and it'll always be open at the same time. And it's just there for people to use, not for people that they need to go to.
Alright. We have one last question coming from eBoard.
Sorry. So there is a possibility that you'll be working with people in your line on cabinet. How will you differentiate you guys' relationships outside and inside your town?
So, just my experience on being on a leadership group, I do have close friends that I did have. And they were there when there was nothing to do, or at a social event when I needed someone to get comfortable with, or like didn't know who to talk to. But as far as being people in my line, I do know how to set that boundary between professionalism and being outside. I do know when to ask for help and if it's time and place to talk about something that's not PAC related. And yeah, I just know how to set that boundary.
Thank you.